So while there is a hydrologic cycle, and while we don't use up any molecule of water on the planet, it gets recycled to the oceans, to the atmosphere, to precipitation, and so on. A lot of what we're doing is discharging water reservoirs at a much higher rate than they're naturally recharged. So we're grabbing anything that it's like mining. We're mining water. We're mining water underground here in Oklahoma. We're mining water underground in India. We're mining water in from the Himalayan glacier melt. We're mining water in the North China Plain. And if you were to take the water from the Great Lakes, you would be mining that water as well, because it would not recharge, because it's basically a reservoir that's that is a reflection of long-term, long-standing volume.
But is that why we shouldn't sell it? I mean, I'm not making this up. The commodification of water is the next big issue the people that think about the things you think about are going to have to deal with. So what's the thinking on that?
Yeah, well, the thinking in the Great Lakes region is I think, very, you know, forward-looking, and that is that, you know, the water intelligentsia here has looked around at what's happened in places like the Colorado River watershed, say, and the Aral Sea watershed, and they've seen that, you know, humans have gone in and they've put claims on this water. I mean, the Colorado River watershed is the most oversubscribed watershed, arguably, in North America, where during a period of unusually high precipitation in the 1920s, they carved up the water pie amongst the various states in the basin, and the pie was bigger then than it is today. And climate, so you have states that have claims to more water than regularly flows through the watershed on an annual basis, which is why the Colorado River regularly doesn't flow to the sea. And so, and climate change predictions for that watershed are that their snowpack is going to decline and the flow in the river is ultimately going to be lower, and so you're going to have increased tension because people have legal claims to more water than is there. And so, but back to the Great Lakes region, what you have here amongst the water intelligentsia in the Great Lakes region is that, yes, we want water for society, yes, we want water for the economy, but throughout the negotiations on the Great Lakes Compact, the environment always had a seat at the table. The environment didn't have a seat at the table when the Colorado River Compact was drawn up. It was all for humans. Here in the Great Lakes region, people have recognized that they want the lakes to have the water, because that's where it belongs. And we will use it in a sustainable fashion, and we will return the water to the lakes. We won't send it to far-flung venues, because it belongs to the lakes.
Are we doing that now? Are we doing a good job of it?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think the compact was, you know, signed by the president last fall, and it is a ban on Great Lakes diversions with limited exceptions. And even those limited exceptions are for communities right along the rim of the Great Lakes watershed, and there are special cases, and they can make a plea for their special case. And if they take the water outside the watershed, they have to treat it to Clean Water Act standards and then return it back to the watershed.
What do you guys make of Phoenix or Las Vegas or places that shouldn't be?
Just what we need.
Yeah, I mean, really, is that? Everybody wants to go to the Southwest. Is that maybe less now as the planet's getting warmer? But is that just an absolute misuse of water resources, the way we're putting cities in places where they would not otherwise sustain themselves? Are you anti-Las Vegas, anti-Phoenix?
I'll let Jeff go first on this one.
It is an extraordinary thing that the greatest growth of the American population and a lot of the economy has come in the region where every climate model that is run now concurs on one issue just about more than any other, which is that's the place that's going to dry up with absolute predictability. That band of Southern California, of course, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, that stretch of the dryland Southwest is a classic part of the world's band where we can expect further drying from climate change. A lot of what climate scientists tell you, if you ask, what does it mean for this place or that place, they say, can't really say exactly, maybe a few things, but in certain parts of the world, the message is very, very clear. And the message for this subtropical dryland band of the world, of which that's part, is that it's going to get drier. And the reason is basically very simple. The world heats near the equator. The air rises at the equator, drops the rain, and that's why we have the rainforest environment at the equator. And then the air falls back in a descending column towards the Earth. And that column of drying air is, that column of falling air is dry because the precipitation's already gone. And so what's called the Hadley cycle of this ascending air and then descending air causes the deserts around the world, like the Mojave Desert, like the drylands of the Southwest. And all the essence of the climate change is that it's like turning the stove up a little bit more. That cycle is going to be more intense. So the whole convective cycle around the equator to the subtropical desert latitudes becomes a more intensified cycle, and that descending air becomes a drier, wider band. So this is where tens of millions of population and garden lawns and new golf courses and all the rest have come, and there's absolutely no way that this can continue given what is going to happen to all the rivers that feed this area, to the meager amounts of precipitation. That one is sure to be a very serious mess. At the Earth Institute, we have a unit which studies climate through tree rings, and they go back hundreds of years, and they've studied the Southwest climate almost year by year, literally, through a number of methods, including this dendrochronology. And they've uncovered already in natural Earth history mega drought periods that show that when the Earth was warmer through natural variation, that led to massive drought in that area. Now the Earth is getting warmer because of what we're doing, and the same phenomenon is going to apply.
I'm going to pass the microphone around here. We have a few. I believe the staff will actually let you folks out there ask some questions if you'd like, or make comments. I'd love to see what you have to say and get their reaction to it. I don't know if we're going to bring the house lights up a little bit or not, but if this is the time, there we go. For that, let's do so. And while they're getting the microphones ready, Peter, was there a comment that you wanted to make?
Well, I just wanted to, yeah, I mean, in the United States, we don't tell people where they can and can't live. But it's always been a surprise to me, particularly in recent history, how people don't really think about water when they decide where they're going to live. And I think some people have made a mistake by not doing that.
You know what they should do?
So I think that more and more people, when they decide where they want to live and where they want to raise their families, they're going to say, well, what is the water supply there? Is that going to be an issue for us? Is that going to be an issue when I need to resell my home? And we've got a serious drought in California right now. We've got water rationing.
State of an emergency.
State of emergency, recommended 20% reductions. We had a demonstration by migrant workers in the Central Valley who are out of work because of water, 30% unemployment in the Central Valley during the non-peak growing season. We're heading into a growing season now in California where farmers are cutting down trees because they're not going to be able to water them. And they don't want them to be.
The rest of the economy is in great shape.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's this is going to be, we're going to hear more and more about this, I believe, and it's going to raise a lot of questions, I'm afraid, for the people who live in these already water stressed areas. But I don't think I don't think you have a right to go to a desert area and expect to be able to have a green, lush lawn like Scotland, say, for example.
That's my flip observation. Well, then tax water, tax the use of it, and that will drive the people out of the area if it becomes unaffordable. We'll start over here. Hi.